Paranormal Journals, only here on Black Mass Paranormal. So I had my buddy Donald. He messaged me and wanted to share an encounter that he had with you all. I thought it was pretty awesome because this encounter is actually documented on the MUFON historical registry. Now, this encounter happened in September of 1988, driving from Oceanport, New Jersey to East Brunswick. Now, this encounter that Donald had, when I first read the first part of it, I was like, that's St. Elmo's fire, something that I've covered here on this channel. Now, if you all don't know what St. Elmo's fire is, here's a good representation of it. However, this was not St. Elmo's fire. Now, I know this because of the amount of time that this occurred. Now, if you all have not figured out what I'm talking about yet, I am talking about some strange ball of light that followed Donald on his way home from Oceanport, New Jersey. Now, Donald said that the trip was about 45 miles in total. Donald had just gotten on Highway 18 in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. I might be saying that wrong and apologize if I am. But I found this was interesting because this was adjacent to Earl Ammunition Depot, which is a part of the U.S. Navy. Now, as Donald is driving down the road, he looks up and he sees this ball of light in front of his car. Now, he said it was about 250 feet in front of his car and about 25 foot off the road. So this thing had a pretty good distance away from him. He described it, he thought it was probably the size of his hand or bigger. Now, I would imagine that distance, obviously, it looked like if it was about the size of his hand from 250 feet, I would imagine it would be much bigger up close, but maybe not. Maybe that's something Donald could answer in the comments, if you don't mind. But anyway, so Donald looks out of his driver's side window and he looks up and he sees the moon. So as Donald's driving, he sees this freaking ball of light that is just traveling right in front of him, and he sees the moon over here. So he's like, I know this is not the moon. So Donald quickly rolls down the window thinking this ball of light is some sort of figment of his imagination. After Donald rolls down the window, all he hears is the sound of his car driving down the road. He doesn't hear anything else. So Donald kind of is like, I don't really know what's going on here, but I know I should probably get off of this road. So Donald turns off of the highway, and once he gets onto a back road, he turns his headlights off. He turns his fog lights off. He wants to make sure that this thing is not some sort of weird refraction from his headlights, maybe on the fog, but the light, he said it never dimmed. So Donald continues to see this light as he's driving down this now back road, and it's staying directly in front of him. Donald sees another turn where he could turn and try to get, reposition himself going another direction. So Donald turns and starts going. That ball of light stays in front of him. It continues to move with Donald. He turns left, he turns right, goes back and forth. And this lasts, a good 45 miles that he's driving. At this point, Donald is just kind of at a loss. He doesn't understand what is happening. He's got this ball of light that is, traveling in front of him, but he doesn't really know what to do. But he knows that he's getting kind of towards the end of his drive to his house in East Brunswick. About 5 miles from his final destination, he looks out of his window and he sees St. Thomas Roman Catholic Church. Now he's in Old Bridge, New Jersey at this point. So Donald is passing this church. He's concentrated on this ball of light and he's watching it. And right as Donald passes St. Thomas Roman Catholic Church, the ball of light quickly changes course, goes from being in front of him to making a turn and going straight up at, he said, just absolutely amazing speeds into outer space. Now, Donald, to this day, does not have an answer for what he saw that night. To me, I thought it was absolutely fascinating because we have a situation where we have somewhat what could have been an explanation with the St. Elmo's fire, but this thing just absolutely follows him. I mean, we're not talking about following him for a little bit. You're talking about 45 miles plus an extra 15 miles that he added on trying to evade this thing. Now, these encounters, oddly enough, happen quite a bit. But for some reason, society and the media and everybody, they just quickly dismiss them for a reason I honestly don't understand. Me personally, I don't feel that humans have even scratched the surface on understanding our existence on this earth. I think that we have a ton of stuff that occurs that we just basically dismiss because we think that we are the all-intelligent beings, which, we aren't. I mean, just look at Facebook. I'm just kidding. So I think it's important for us in the black mass paranormal community to be able to share these encounters with each other because, I would bet that somewhere someone else out there has experienced something similar to this. Now, a lot of you all have actually asked me to do an investigation. A lot of you all have asked me to do an investigation of UFOs in the Appalachian Mountains. Now, at first, I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. But after thinking about it, I'm like, well, the U.S. government just basically said that, aliens are real. We just shot down a bunch of objects that for some reason everybody just stopped talking about. Did anybody else notice that? Like, it was all over the news for like 3 days, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Like, what happened? Is it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we good just saying like, well, the thing that we shot over the thing that we shot over the lake, the lake's like 50 to 100 foot deep, water's kind of cold, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be okay. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave it. Like, what? Like, it's craziness. It's absolutely craziness. So, unfortunately, we are going to have to rely on each other to get the information to each other. Now, this encounter that Donald had, I thought was amazing. It's not something that you hear every day because this thing was actually following Donald. It wasn't like it was something that he walked out on his back porch and, saw, a light in the sky and couldn't explain it. Like, this is some next level stuff happening here. And once again, it happens near a military base. And we just don't have explanations to what is really happening in these situations. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. I hope everybody is doing well, and I am back to cranking out content, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. So if you are new to the channel, consider, maybe hitting that subscribe button if you want to. If not, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Give this video a like, or, if the dislike thing is still a thing, you can dislike it too. I don't care. Turn on notifications. That way you know that I'm out here running my mouth again. And, guys, we'll see you next time.